Welcome, everybody, to week 4 of Chasing the Delta Season 8. My name is Alex Patterson, and we are here at Tsukuba. So, this track is very, very short. We've got, I want to say, 25 or 26 drivers, so this is going to be action packed. We got 2 races here for you tonight, both 20 minutes in length, and I am really, really looking forward to seeing just the chaos and how the front runners are going to be able to separate themselves from the pack. I will say we are going to have a lot of battles. I am not going to be able to keep up with all of them, but my God, should this be an exciting one. Let's take a look at the weather real quick while we have a chance. You can see right now the track conditions are really, really nice. They are 84 degrees. However, during the races this week, it's been as high as 102. So this is actually quite a bit cooler than what they've been driving all week. And we will see whether that makes a difference or whether that will be different in race 2. But we've got high humidity, but no rain. And we should have like a pretty clean race in terms of weather. Looking at our qualifying with just about everybody through. Josh King, no surprise, is on pole position at the moment with a 102.5, followed by Joey Essinger, Nick Drux, Kevin Cohen, Jeremy Toasty, and Michael Goncalves on the top 6. Now, you can see how low this lap is. It is a 1 minute and 2 second lap on the qualifying. So it is tight. You know, the difference between P1 and P20 is about a little under 2 seconds. So we are going to be seeing some significantly close racing here, and we're going to see how people are going to be able to pass. It's going to be hard to pass, and we're going to see how people are going to be able to I tried to do 2 things at the same time. Sort of pull away from the pack. So we still have got about 3 minutes left, so we're going to go ahead and take a quick look at Josh King's pole lap here. So this is a very quick lap. There's only really 4 or 5 corners of note, so we'll walk you through it. No, this was not his quali lap. That was his final lap. So we're actually going to go back just a little bit, and you can see he's going to be racing towards turn 1. Turn 1 is a hairpin. He's going to be going all the way down into first gear, sliding the car around this right-hand bend, and then he's going to track all the way out to the curb and get ready for turn 4. As you can see, this is a little bit of a chicane. Turn 4 is sort of like the carousel. It is a on-camber hairpin that you really got to play well. Now, this is just a lift through here in turn 5. Stay in second gear. Now, we've got yet another on-camber hairpin coming up. Once again, we're going to see Josh hard brake down into first. Track all the way out to the curb here. Use every inch of that track. And now we are on the back straight. 1 more corner to go. This is turn 9. This is a long, sweeping right-hander. What Josh is going to do is he's just going to be sort of feathering the throttle here around this track. Some people like to shift into second. Doesn't look like Josh will. And that is a lap of Tsukuba. It is a quick lap for sure. But an excellent one by Josh King that puts him in pole position by what is actually quite a large 1500ths of a second given the track times. So looking at the leaderboard here, looks like everybody is through. So this will be our starting position. So let's go ahead and take a look at our starting grid. Josh King, once again, in pole position. This is his at least his 3rd pole in a row. Would not be surprised if it was more. But next to him is Joey Essinger. Very, very nice performance by him. Nick Drux is here tonight. He's been absent from the last couple of races, but we're glad to see him. And he starts in P3 next to the always steady Kevin Cohen. Jeremy Toasty and Michael Goncalves, 2 graduates that are really, really excellent drivers. Go ahead and make up the 3rd row. Vaibhav Narayanaswamy, another driver who we haven't seen in a while that we're super happy happy to see back. Very nicely done. He'll be starting next to Dale Marshall, who put in an excellent lap to start on the 4th row. Finally, Greg Calabria and James Cox, 2 fast drivers, 2 sturdy drivers. They will make up the 5th row. This is going to be such an interesting race. I'm going to do my best to try to keep up with all of it. No promises. There's going to be most likely battles everywhere, all over the track. This track is just big enough to hold I want to say 26 cars that are going to be on track. This is going to be tight. And we also have a couple drivers starting in the back. We've got Gage Hyams and Howard Ding and Keith Gwinnett, all graduates, 2 coaches, and they'll probably be starting from the back. We also have Chris Searks, Adam McNeil, and Steve Hill starting outside the top 10 as well. And this is just going to be, I think, a pretty fascinating race. Do you want to also give a shout out to our newest graduate, Alex Lofi? He is not here tonight, but he did hit that 2K marker and become another graduate of CTD. So congratulations. The next time you see him in this race, he will be part of the Purple Gang as a pro driver who has hit 2K. You can see our safety car today looks like it's a Porsche. Looks quite nice as the drivers line up on the starting grid. It does look like we have 26 cars that are going to be racing. This is incredible for a track this small. So PCC has been running on this track this week. And don't forget, PCC is multi-class. It is the BMW M2, the Toyota GR86, and the Mazda MX-5. And there usually is like a handful of Clios that just sort of screw everything up for everybody. But there is a ton of multi-class. It is just constant chaos. It is a really, really tight racing. And this track, doesn't seem like it can handle this many cars. It's probably going to be just fine. However, we aren't going to get a lot of breaks in the action. So our drivers lining up here, just waiting for the end of the grid here. We do have to wait the full 2 minutes because yours truly can't say he's ready to race. I am in the session as a driver. I am not in this. I should maybe join these as a watcher. One of these days I'll get my stuff together, but that day clearly won't be today. I'm curious to see what the start looks like. We also have a truncated pole lap, which, by the way, is how we do it in PCC. Yeah, there's like 40 cars on the grid, and we start on the back straight. So for the Mazdas, it is essentially a standing start as our pace car, as you can see, instantly goes into the pits. And we're going to be started right away on cold tires.
Green.
And there goes Josh King on the green flag, and he gets a good start heading towards turn 1. Will there be chaos in turn 1? Remember, this is a hairpin. You go all the way down into first gear. So far, so good. Giving each other a lot of space, but it does seem to be pretty heavy up at the top, and I do think Joey Essinger might be going for the inside here on Josh King. All the way around the outside. He right now has the lead, but Josh King has the inside for the next 2 turns. Josh King up at the start, but Joey has quite a lead over Josh, and he actually is able to pull ahead of him, and that will be Joey Essinger starting from P2. Goes ahead and takes the lead, and that is Nick Drux coming right up behind him. All right, so like I said, we're going to have action all over the place as we head toward this back straight here in our first big test. Will they be able to keep this car on the grid in cold tires? So far, so good from everybody as Joey Essinger goes ahead and takes a pretty solid half-second lead over Josh King. This is very, very nicely done by Joey. He got an excellent start considering he was not on the green flag and has so far just been really strong going through Tsukuba. And so far, so good in terms of crashes. We did have Dale Marshall, who I believe missed the start. That is Matthew Coley, who is experimenting on the grass. Not sure whether he's going to be able to get that car around. I do believe he will. Meanwhile, we're looking at Kevin Cohen, Jeremy Toasty, And we're just going to have a constant amount of battles here as we see like 5 or 6 cars coming through turn 3 here. Or actually, that is turn 5. And this is turn 8. This is sort of a crazy race. So I'm just going to figure out how we're going to do the camera here. I think we might just stick on the battle between Joey Essinger and Josh King. And if we see stuff happening in the background, we will look for it. But this is going to be a tough one to call, guys. At the moment, we see Joey Essinger sliding that car around turn 1, and that, sort of lost him a little bit of time. That's going to give Josh King and Nick Drux some chance to get right above him, or right up to his bumper. And after the first 3 laps, we've got Joey Essinger leading Josh King, Nick Drux, and Kevin Cohen in P3 and P4 where they started. Jeremy Toasty and Michael Goncalves in P5 and P6 where they started. Greg Calabria up to 7th place. Vaibhav Narawanaswamy down to P8 from P7. And it looks like Jacob Green and Steve Hill are rounding out our top 10. It looks like we have a crash. And it looks like Adam McNeil. See, Adam is slowing. I can't see if he's got a meatball or any damage. It doesn't look like it, so he might have just spun out. But meanwhile, we have what looks to be a train of about 11 cars with Chris Sierks, who is quite quick. Going to try to come up to the end of this train, and as long as you're in the train, you're in with a shout here. That being said, Tsukuba is notoriously difficult to pass on. All of these corners are tight. You have to get to the inside before you get to the apex. Otherwise, that's a big vortex of danger. And it is just going to be tough. You're going to have to get a good exit on the back straight. And maybe you get a move around turn 3. I would say there's a lot of moves that happen into turn 1. Turn 4 is not a great passing spot. Neither is turn 5 or turn 8. So turn 1 and turn 9 is sort of what we're looking for, sort of like a mini Sebring. The rest are difficult passing spots, but as you can see, a little bit of contact now between Joey Essinger and Josh King, but no harm, no foul as they head down the back straight. Let's see what else is going on here. As the train continues, we do see Chris Sierks and Brendan Hardy now joining the action all the way in the back. Joey Essinger continues to lead the race. A little squirrely from Nick Drux there. But he is overall good. And, we're going to have a move from Kevin Cohen here, it looks like. Kevin Cohen, look onto the inside of Nick Drux. So far, so good on the move. But will he be able to get his full car ahead of Nick before we get to this next corner? And they do bump doors a little bit, but it won't be the case as they head towards the next turn. And that leaves Kevin Cohen up to a move from Jeremy Toasty. And Jeremy Toasty is going to take P4. Very nicely done. Will Kevin Cohen be able to stay on the inside here through turn 5? He does, but he also has a car right behind him. That's Michael Goncalves. Jeremy Toasty does look like he has pulled out a gap, enough of a gap to Kevin Cohen that he will be able to take P4 in a more comfortable position. Kevin Cohen holding off Greg Calabria and Michael Goncalves as Greg and Michael go down side by side down the last straight. Heading toward turn 9 here. Looks like Greg Calabria will lift and tuck in behind Michael. Michael heads to the inside of this corner. You want to get on the curbs for pretty much all of these turns. And that battle may continue into turn 1. Meanwhile, we've got Joey Essinger still in first place by a comfortable 0.3. Josh King, Nick Drux, Jeremy Toasty, Kevin Cohen, Michael Goncalves in our top 6. All right, so we have a lot of battles, but not a lot of movement. So far, the movement has been our meatballs. Unfortunately, Gage Hyams and Youngwon Kim have meatballed in this race. Now, we do have fast repairs, but, Gage is a coach and he's extremely fast, and he will have wanted to try to fight through the field here, so it is unfortunate that he is meatballed. Down the back straight the train goes. Joey Essinger maintaining this lead. Looks like Nick Drux wanted to take a look on the inside there, but nothing doing. And looks like Jeremy Toasty might be losing the train here. And if that is the case, and he loses the draft, which he hasn't done yet, but he might, unless these two guys fight into turn 1. This is Josh King and Nick Drux. Nick Drux looking around the outside. It doesn't seem like he has it. He did want to get to the inside of this turn, but Josh King is ahead of him. Oof, man. What is going to happen as we reach the 7-minute mark of this race? 13 minutes to go. And Joey Essinger with a very comfortable lead as Josh King continues to find himself under pressure from Nick Drux. However, Nick has sort of fallen back a little bit. He's a little bit in, I would say, relative no man's land, given that it is Tsukuba and the Mazda. And a little contact between Joey, Nick, and Josh. And that is going to really hurt Nick down the back straight. And that will be Jeremy Toasty moving on to the podium position. That being said, Nick Drux, is he going to let that happen? It is not immediately clear whether he has room to go on the inside here. Toasty does give him room, but Nick Drux now has a new problem, and that is Kevin Cohen. It does look like Nick will be able to maintain P4, but Kevin Cohen looking on the inside yet again. Nothing doing there. Nick Drux maintains P4, but he will want P3 back. That was contact between Joey Essinger and Josh King that made Nick Drux just check up just a little bit, and that was enough for Jeremy Toasty to take advantage of it and move himself up into a podium position. Meanwhile, what else is going on? Our train is still 10 people long. Our train at the 8-minute mark is Joey Essinger up front, Josh King, Jeremy Toasty, Nick Drux, Kevin Cohen, Michael Gonçalves, Greg Calabria, Vibe Narawanaswamy, Steve Hill, and Jacob Green. All of them. If there is a crash, if something happens, as we see Josh King, maybe out of boredom, weaving to the inside to see if anything was there, but you and I know there isn't. If there is a big crash, any of these guys in the top 10 can get through and get up on the podium or even win this race. But right now it is Joey Essinger's race to lose as Josh King may look to make a move here through turn 1. It looks like he's starting to play some mind games with Joey. Josh is sort of weaving back and forth, looking for any sort of place to make a move. There just isn't anything there. But what he does want is for Joey to think he's going to be crazy and make a move. But Joey is a very, I would say, stable and solid driver. He is not falling victim to any mind tricks at the moment as he takes a very, very nice inside. Josh King wants to take a look around the outside, but Joey Essinger is going to get an excellent exit and is just not going to be under threat. Now, we do see people come under threat in the draft. Joey Essinger has not come under threat in the draft yet. And I think that is just a testament to the fact that he might just be like that extra little bit quicker than the rest of the field. The fact that Josh King isn't really able to get a run on him. All it would take is like a couple corners for that to be a big issue, as we do see perhaps a move in the back. And, we just heard something. We heard tire squealing. We do see contact between Greg and Vibe. Greg is going to maintain P7 there, but, that was a bit close. I got scared there. I heard tire squealing. That's typically a crash. As our cars snake through with the race halfway over, Joey Essinger and Josh King battling for the lead. Jeremy Toasty, 0.6 back, Nick Drux right behind him. Kevin Cohen, Michael Gonçalves, Greg Calabria, Vibe Narawanaswamy, Steve Hill, and Jacob Green, and we do see it! That is Joey Essinger out of the contention here, and Josh King is going to go out too. I didn't see what happened there because I was too busy reading out the names, but that's going to put Jeremy Toasty up in the lead of this race. I couldn't tell whether Josh caused it and then felt bad and just sort of pulled over, or whether he actually sort of lost it there. But Jeremy Toasty is now in an excellent position. And I don't believe that either of them sort of left this train. I do believe Josh King is in 10th position. Joey Essinger is in 9th. But Joey is 3 seconds back, so they are no longer in the train. But that is a bummer for both of them. We certainly did not want to see that. And we do see... Looks like Vibhab Narawanaswamy is spun out, and he will also have to wait. And, there's so many cars on track that if you spin out, you have to wait forever to safely rejoin. He's going to fall all the way to P20 after running in P8 for most of this race. So that is unfortunate for Vibe. Didn't exactly see what happened there either. But now we've got a battle on our hands. We've got Jeremy Toasty and Nick Drux, and I don't think these guys are going to play very nice. They are both aggressive drivers. Both of them want this win. Nick Drux in the old Senna McLaren livery. As you can see, Jeremy Toasty, feels compelled to defend the inside into turn 9. And we saw Joey Essinger never really have to do that. And now Nick Drux is going to have a look around the outside here, and he's going to make Jeremy Toasty think about this. And you can see, Jeremy Toasty did not track out. He did not get all the speed that he needed to. And right now we've got Nick Drux taking the lead. However, Jeremy Toasty is on the inside of this race. That's going to be Kevin Cohen sneaking on the inside here. And that might have slowed Jeremy down, but I do believe this is going to be Nick Drux on the inside of this next turn. But Jeremy Toasty is going to take a look around the outside. Kevin Cohen right behind him, trying to make this 3 wide. Kevin Cohen is going to be right on the back of Nick Drux's bumper, and he's trying to make Jeremy Toasty make a mistake. So that way Kevin Cohen can get up into P2, and that is to the benefit of Nick Drux, as Nick Drux now takes a 0.5 of a second lead. Kevin Cohen diving into the inside, and he looks like he will take this position from Jeremy Toasty, who now finds himself under pressure from Michael Goncalves. And Michael Goncalves is going to have some overlap going into turn 9. And right behind them, Greg Calabria. And Greg is going to have a look on the inside and make both of them, leave him space on the outside. And it doesn't look like anything's going to happen here. But that is going to really spread out this pack as Kevin Cohen goes very wide. And now he keeps his position and covers off the inside. But that is just music to the ears of Nick Drux, who now is able to just pull a little bit further away. He is now almost to an almost 8/10 lead, which on a track like this is hard to... it's hard to bridge. 6 minutes left in this race. Joey and Josh have moved up into 8th and 9th. They have almost caught the train. The two of them, they are now, they were about 3.5 seconds behind. They are now 1.6 seconds behind the final car in the train. That's Steve Hill. And Kevin Cohen and Jeremy Toasty still have their work cut out for them. Nick Drux really made an excellent move, an excellent series of moves around turn 9, turn 1, and then into turn 4, and was able to take that position. Jeremy Toasty, in his efforts to defend, let Kevin Cohen get real close to him. Kevin Cohen saw the opportunity and made a move into turn 6. And I would say, what is that? Turn 8, sorry. And that turn 8 move right now is what is keeping him in P2. But we do have a little bit, the cars are a little bit spread out right now in this battle for P1. Woo! What else is going on this track? Honestly, there aren't too many battles. We do have Howard Ding back from a long hiatus, and him and Keith Gwinnett are battling it out for 14th place. And oh no, as soon as we go to Howard Ding, he spins on his own. Oh, the indomitable caster curse catches out Howard Ding. Welcome back, Howard. Have a caster curse, buddy. What can I say? They call me Voodoo because I have those Voodoo dolls, and I might have accidentally spilled some lube onto the Voodoo doll I have of Howard Ding's car. 5 minutes left to go in this race. Nick Drux in the lead over the increasingly close Kevin Cohen, who has cut up to his bumper. Jeremy Toasty in a little bit further back in P3. Michael Goncalves and Greg Calabria are right behind him. Steve Hill in P6, Jacob Green in P7, Joey Essinger and Josh King, who were running 1 and 2 in this race for the majority of the first half of it, they have caught the pack, and they will be looking to maybe make a move on Jacob Green here, but right now they're running in 8th and 9th. Chris Searks now passing Brendan Hardy, who looks like he had a small issue here, into that 10th position. I don't think that either Joey or Josh has damage, so they have been able to catch up to the pack. They are going to try to claw some points back here. Just having a look at the rest of the grid here, looking to see if there are any battles, maybe anybody we can curse. We do have AJ Sanders trying to hold off Keith Gwynn, Dale Marshall, and Adam McNeil. AJ Sanders, a Counter-Strike player, a very excellent one, may I add, and he's going to take the inside here to hold off Keith Gwinnett, who gets bumped by the Red Bull of Dale Marshall, sort of on brand there, but that will be Dale Marshall coming up into 13th. And AJ Sanders maintains that 12th position. Very nicely done by AJ to maintain that defense and allow the two guys to fight behind him as Keith Gwinnett fell all the way back to P15 after that. You know, these like little bumps, we've seen it now time and time again. These little bumps cost so much time on this track. Meanwhile, Joey Essinger has fallen. I don't know what happened, but I don't even see him on my timing screen anymore. He is in the pits. Oh, Joey Essinger has spun out, and that's going to be the end of his race. I was wondering what happened there. And Joey Essinger from first to unfortunately down all the way to last. That is unfortunate for Joey, who was leading this race. There was an incident on turn 8. Not 100% sure what happened, but that caused a lot of chaos. It did cost Josh and Joey their P1 and P2, most likely. We do have some movement here, as we do have, looks like some contact between James, Vibe, Adam, and Keith and Dale. Looks like Dale for sure, because Dale is way far back there. But as we reach the 2.5 minute mark here, the 2 minute mark, we got to focus on this front pack. Nick Drux, with 2 minutes to go, looks like he's got a pretty indomitable lead over Kevin Cohen in P2, who has a pretty healthy lead over Jeremy Toasty in P3. Michael Goncalves, very nicely done. This might be one of his best performances of the season in P4. Gray Calabria always near the top and always looking to make a move here, and he did have a look on the inside of Michael Goncalves. He is going to want that P4. Nothing doing there. Looks like Josh King was able to get past Jacob Green. That is going to be a recovery drive back into P7 for Josh King. But he's going to have to catch all the way up to Steve Hill, who is over a second ahead of him. And as we head to what will be, I believe, 2 more laps, that is going to be a tough task for him. Now, we might actually go white this next lap. I want to say we will as Nick Drux heads down the back straight. I do believe this will be white flag coming across the line. And that is an excellent exit from Kevin Cohen. And he's going to be right on the bumper. Or maybe not right on the bumper, but he will be in striking distance heading in to white flag here at the first race of Tsukuba. And how will Nick Drux defend Kevin Cohen? 0.4 of a second back. We are on the white flag. Nick Drux taking the inside of turn 1, staying on the curb. Very nicely done. They're going to head towards turn 4. Now, there typically aren't moves made at turn 4 unless there's already overlap, and there's obviously no overlap here. But Kevin Cohen is right there. Any mistake from Nick Drux could give Kevin Cohen the victory, but Nick Drux very solidly goes through P4, P5 on warm tires. Looks like he's going to really take that well, and it's all going to come down to these 2 corners. Turn 8, this hairpin, looks like Nick Drux was able to get exactly the line he wanted without taking an overtly defensive one. And he is going to get onto the back straight with a 0.3 lead over Kevin Cohen. Will Kevin Cohen be able to make something happen as we head towards turn 9? Kevin doesn't look like he thinks so. I don't think so either. And that is going to be Nick Drux. Very nice drive, and he will take P1 of Season 8, Week 4, Race 1. Our winner is Nick Drux. Kevin Cohen, 0.2 behind him, followed by Jeremy Toasty, Michael Goncalves, and Gray Calabria in our top 5. Josh King finishes P7. It looks like we have Matt Cheeseman rounding out our top 10. And a battle between Vibhav Narawanaswamy and James Cox is going to reach its conclusion here with Vibhav just eking it out over James Cox. Woo. Well, that was a lot of battling, a lot of action. And as you can see, the moves are difficult, but they do happen. And let's go ahead and take a look at the results. Nick Drux, our pro and overall winner, beating out Kevin Cohen for P1, and Nick Drux is the winner of race 1. Kevin Cohen P2 and Jeremy Toasty P3. That is our podium with Michael Goncalves about a half second back in P4. Gray Calabria, our AM winner in the overall P5, followed by Steve Hill. Josh King, qualified pole, was in second for most of the race. Something happened. We still don't know what, but he will finish in P7. Jacob Green, another excellent drive from him in P8. Brendan Hardy and Matt Cheeseman Impressive drives to take P9 and P10, followed by AJ Sanders, Jim Campbell, Chris Stierks, Vibe Narawanaswamy, and James Cox. Well, interesting race. I'm hoping we'll see a little bit more overtake in race two, but also I think we're also seeing just how hard it is to make clean moves here. So it will all come down to qualifying for race two. We will be there in about 10 to 15 minutes. Don't go anywhere.
Oh, hello, Mongolian!
And welcome back to Chasing the Delta Season 8, Week 4, Race 2. Excited to have you back with us for race number 2. We are just, pretty much everybody now is putting in their final qualifying laps, so we're going to see how everything shakes out. Meanwhile, let's take a look at the weather. The weather is a solid 86 degrees, as I let you guys see the weather. So it's about the same as it was last race, so not a lot of change there. Doesn't look like we are going to see like these sort of exceptionally hot tracks that we've been seeing in PCC, which is good for the drivers, especially as their tires start to wear out. So yeah, let's see what else we got going on here. Let's take a look at qualifying so far. And once again, we've got Josh King up at the top in pole position. Now, I wonder whether Josh actually got a little bit caught off guard by how quick that green flag was and just didn't get the best launch, which allowed Joey Essinger to take the lead and maintain the lead up until about 10, 12 minutes in when they had an incident that took both of them out of contention. So I wonder whether Josh is going to be a little bit quicker on the line this time around. We still have about 4 minutes left in qualifying. Because these laps are so short, a 10-minute qualifying goes by like that. However, it does look like everybody is done. We don't have a ton of drivers on track at the moment. I'm just sort of trying to bounce around. I think that for the most part, we are all off the track at this point. It looks like we do have Howard Ding. We got Vibe Narayanaswamy on the track. Got AJ Sanders on the track as well. Joey Essinger sitting in the pits. And we've got Jacob Green finishing his lap up. And yeah, I mean, once again, we have a very, very tight field. I can't tell whether Jacob is still on a hot lap or not. It doesn't necessarily show that he's checkered, but we will see. Right now, he does appear to be on a heater if this lap counts. Uses the curve. That might have actually been an off track there. But yeah, it does not look like he's just going around the track. I don't believe he's actually doing quality laps anymore. And we are just about done with qualifying, I believe. So let's go ahead and take a look at our starting grid. Josh King, once again, taking pole. But however, next to him this time will be Greg Calabria, who did an excellent lap in P2. Joey Essinger, P3, followed by Jacob Green, another excellent lap by him in P4. And then a great lap by Jim Campbell. That's going to put him all the way up in P5. We didn't really see him last race. Michael Goncalves, once again in P6. Nick Drux, the winner of our last race, down in P7. Next to Kevin Cohen, once again, those two. They started on the second row in race 1, now on the fourth row in race 2. And then finally, Luke Severance and Adam McNeil rounding out our top 10. A couple guys we expected to be up near the top are not there. Jeremy Toasty, who was leading some of the race last time, is in P11 after a difficult qualifying. Those looks like Chris Sierks down in P14, Steve Hill down in P13, Vibe Narayanaswamy, a difficult qualifying all the way down in P20. James Cox and Matt Cheeseman as well. I do believe we're in the top 10 or the top 15 at some point. They are typically very fast, but they are down in P18 and P21 respectively. Let's take a look at our gaps. So once again, Josh King, about 10th and a half clear of P2. But after that, we are close. And you can see that the gap between P3 and P8 is about 18 hundredths of a second. So these are close laps. Every little bit counts on a track like Tsukuba, where it's not the most complicated track, but it's also like not super easy either. And at the same time, it's such a short track that any like little tiny mistake can cost you positions. So anyway, we've got about 25 seconds left in the qualifying session, and I don't believe I talked about CTD in our last race, so I'll do it here. CTD is an academy. We are an academy first and a league second. We are completely free. There is no hidden fees. We all do it for the love of the game. But the goal is to take drivers who are either newer or stuck under that 2K benchmark and get them up to at least 2K I rating. Once they do, they graduate from our AM class into our pro class. They do become graduates. And once they're done, they can do pretty much anything they want. Not that they couldn't before, but, we do encourage the AM drivers at least to focus on what we run, which is we run the Mazda MX-5 using the Production Cup Challenge schedule. So each Thursday, we have two 20-minute races. Those races are the same conditions and the same track as the Production Cup Challenge, except there is no multi-class. It is all Mazdas. And we should also say, too, that, because we are an academy, these drivers treat each other as teammates as opposed to rivals. Obviously, they each want to beat each other. But, we do encourage them to race hard, but race fair, give them a little bit of extra room. Because at the end of the day, we're all trying to help each other get better. We are a very encouraging and supportive community. We spend a lot of time together in voice chats, even if we're just doing races, like spotting for each other and entertaining ourselves and trying to essentially make everybody's racing experience a little bit brighter. And then we also try to get you fast as well. So if this sounds attractive to you for any reason, chasingthedelta.com has everything you'll need to know about CTD. And we are lining up for race 2 at the moment. So the question is, how will this race start? Last race, once again, Josh King qualified pole, but then was beat off the line by Joey Essinger, who took the lead and never gave it back until there was an incident involving both of them. So the start here is exceptionally important, given how difficult it is to pass here. And that is what we will be looking for at the start of this race, too. Alrighty, and the pace car is in already, and we are going to have a look at the start of this race as Greg Calabria and Josh King get off the start, and it looks like a much better start by Josh King, and he should have no problem holding the lead into turn 1. That being said, Joey Essinger having a look up the inside, and looks like he might take that position from Greg Calabria. And it looks like he does, and we did have, it looks like some accidental black flags at the start, but those are all cleared. Josh King is going to take us, and he's... Oh, no, Josh King is out! And then step-daddied. And that is going to be 2 major cars out of this race already. It does look like Josh King did recover, but Joey Essinger, once again, this time he is fully out of the race, followed by Jim Campbell. And, oh, my God, we have more chaos going on at turn 5. And that is going to be Matt Cheeseman. Joey Essinger, once again, is completely out of the race with the meatball. Same with Matt Cheeseman. So we have a much different start to this race. That has given Greg Calabria the lead of this race. And then Jacob Green in P2, Michael Goncalves in P3. Oh, that was a horrible start. Once again, Josh King, excellent off the line, but then something happened with him and Joey Essinger. Josh King spun in P4. Or in turn 4, Joey Essinger, who was right behind him, had to come to a stop, and he was just rear-ended super hard. By I want to say Jim Campbell, who is, that was Jim Campbell, who is now in the pits. And that's going to give Craig Calabria full control of this race. Oh, man. That was a really unfortunate start. Taking a look to see where is Josh King. Josh is all the way down now. He is down in P20. He's got to be disappointed with how these races went. Two races got pulled, two races there were incidents, both involved Joey Essinger. And, at the end of these races, we do a race review, not necessarily to assign blame, but just to understand what everybody could have done better. And it does look like we'll have some stuff to talk about after this race. Meanwhile, we do have our train forming. And unlike the kind of train you might see in a Riley Reid video, we try not to have a lot of rear ending in these. We want to give each other a lot of space, give each other a lot of room. And why we do encourage bump drafting a little bit, we do want to keep our rear end safe from any penetrating forces. Meanwhile, Greg Calabria is just clearing this race. He's almost a second up on Jacob Green. Jacob Green, found himself, I believe, starting in P4. He's now in P2, and he is under serious pressure from Michael Goncalves, who has a look up the inside of turn 8. And they're going to go side by side down this back straight into the final turn. And Greg Calabria's got to be loving this as he takes over a 2.5 lead. You can see these two cars break. Looks like Jacob Green is going to maintain the lead, perhaps. Michael Goncalves onto the curb. And it is still up in the air. Now Kevin Cohen, who started all the way back, and I want to say P8 or P9, is now part of this equation as well. And Jacob Green maintains his P2, but he is fighting hard as we see Nick Drux coming out of nowhere to just take that P4 from Kevin Cohen. Meanwhile, Greg Calabria sitting up in P1, happy as a clam. And let's take a look at what else is going on the grid. Our train, Greg Calabria, has left the building in terms of the train. Now the train is headed by P2 and Jacob Green, and that involves Michael Goncalves, Nick Drux, Kevin Cohen, and Luke Severance. Behind Luke, we've got Adam McNeil, Jeremy Toasty, Chris Search, Steve Hill, and those are our top 10. And from P2 to P10, they are all in the draft. So we do expect fighting for P2 here, and that is just going to give Greg Calabria a ton of breathing room as he takes a 2-second lead over P2. Michael Goncalves clearly feeling like he's faster than Jacob Green. You can see he's starting to get a little bit impatient, trying to make something happen through turn 1. There just isn't anything there. Now let's see whether he has a look up into the inside of turn 4. He's certainly looking for it. Jacob Green, not super scared, goes ahead and takes a wide line through there and gets the best exit possible. As we do have now also, we have a battle between Howard Ding and Dale Marshall that's happening as well. Meanwhile, back to the battle between Jacob Green and Michael Goncalves as he desperately tries to hold on in P2. Old Greg does take them through turn 8, and Michael Goncalves is going to have an opportunity here on the inside to get to the inside for the final turn. And that is going to bring Nick Drux potentially right up behind him. And Jacob Green is going to have to concede the inside here. However, will he concede to Nick Drux? Nick Drux is right behind Michael Goncalves, and Jacob Green holding his speed around the outside beautifully. But we are 3 wide going into turn 1. And we do have a little bit of door banging. Michael Goncalves finds himself at the inside, and we have more contact. That is old Greg. Jacob Green spun out, and Michael Goncalves is out as well. That's going to bring Nick Drux into a clear P2, followed by Kevin Cohen in P3. Oh, man, we are just seeing some incredibly unfortunate accidents. That one clearly looked like a racing incident. We had 3 cars going into turn 1. Michael Goncalves tried to bail out. Unfortunately, he wasn't able to bail out in time. Jacob Green got spun around, and Nick Drux, the beneficiary of all of it, now has a clear P2, but he has a 3-second gap to P1. However, the good news for him is the gap to Kevin Cohen, who is now under pressure from Adam McNeil, is a little under 2 seconds. Whew, all right. We are 6 minutes into the race, and Greg Calabria has a commanding lead. Nick Drux has also a very comfortable lead over Kevin Cohen, but Kevin Cohen is now having to hold back a feisty Adam McNeil behind him, Jeremy Toasty, who is leading Luke Severance, Chris Search, and Steve Hill. And James Cox and Michael Goncalves round out our top 10 at the moment as Jacob Green moves up into P11. Just sort of bopping around these battles here. We do see a battle between Howard Ding and Dale Marshall. Dale Marshall in the intimidating Red Bull livery. He is going to have a look around the outside here. Howard Ding, a very solid driver in his own right, but I don't know if he's like an experienced Miata driver. He was prominent in our league and graduated in our league when we were racing the GT4s. Took a break from the game, or from the sim. He got a new job, moved to California. Has taken a little while to get settled and make sure all his affairs are in order, but now he is back in racing, especially as the endurance races come around. It really does have an effect, and we see Kevin Cohen has a significant crash, and it looks like something happened between him and Adam McNeil because they are both out of the race. You know, I was too busy waxing poetic about Howard Ding, and we see another accident. This is the opposite of a caster's curse. It seems like as soon as I go away from these guys, something terrible happens. And that is a meatball for Kevin Cohen and Adam McNeil. And we do have a fast repair, but these guys were up at the front, and it's just going to be a pity for them that they are no longer there. Well, this spreads us out significantly with the top 3 spots just very, very spread out. We've got Gray Calabria, 3.5 second lead over Nick Drux, who has a 3.5 second lead over Jeremy Toasty, who has a 2 second lead or 2.5 second lead over Chris Searks. Started all the way down in like the top 10 to 15 range. He's up to P4, followed by Steve Hill, and this is going to be a battle here for P4. Steve Hill taking a look on the inside. You know, I just noticed that Chris Searks is missing a bumper. So clearly he got in some trouble at some point. Without that front end, Steve Hill goes ahead and makes that turn, but it is not clear whether Chris has aero damage. This is just going to be a very eventful race review. That's all I can say here because of just all the accidents that happened in race 2 after what was a somewhat uneventful race 1, except for the incident with Josh King and Joey Essinger. But this time, there were just a significant amount of races. And Joey Essinger, Jim Campbell, Adam McNeil, Kevin Cohen, and Josh King all started in the top 10, and they are all just completely out of contention. As we see Steve Hill and Chris Searks continue this battle for P4, let's have a look and see what's going on behind them. And we do have a train led by the old Greg, Jacob Green. He wasn't second, goes wide. And oh, he does! Does he lose the car? He does lose the car! And he takes out. Oh no, he tried to save it. He wasn't able to save it. And that is going to be, unfortunately, his fault because, you know, he didn't hit the brakes and probably could have done that without rejoining the track, but that is going to be toes for both him and Michael Goncalves, and that is another 2 guys that started in the top 6 that are now out of it. And that is going to bring somewhat of a new top 10 into the field with about 10 minutes left to go. Gray Calabria, Nick Drux, Jeremy Toasty, Steve Hill, and Chris Searks in our top 5. But then we've got James Cox in P6, AJ Sanders and Howard Ding in P7 and P8 right up there in the points. And then Dale Marshall in P9 and Josh King back up into the top 10, but he's got a heck of a gap to close. You know, I just can't imagine a more cursed race, and now we're at Tsukuba, and there are no battles going on. So I'm not sure what to do. We do see this battle between Steve Hill, but Chris Searks clearly affected by that damage, and the car he's racing is lapped. I believe that is the 147. Is that Joey Essinger? No, it is not Joey Essinger. I don't know who the number 147 is. It is a grad, but I don't remember which one. And yeah, this is just the race from hell. That's all I can say. A lot of banging. A lot of ruined trains. Riley Reid would be proud. So we're just going to sit on board here with Gray Calabria until we find something to do. Greg Calabria is so close to graduating. He right now his I rating is 1923, easily good enough. He has had some pretty rotten luck in officials, but as you can see here, he did qualify P2, was pretty high up there in race one. Has a commanding lead, and it might not have been the way he wanted to get it, but he'll take it. And it looks like unless something catastrophic happens, he's going to be on for a whole host of points for not only himself but his team, Late Breakers Anonymous. But we do expect Greg to graduate soon. No pressure on him, of course, but he clearly has the skill. He has the ability. He has the racecraft. Just needs to find the time to put in some races, and eventually he will get there. So no rush for Greg Calabria. He's good enough. It is inevitable. And we do have some fighting here. Chris Sierks is being followed by the lapped car, and I still haven't figured out who that is. Right? Because when I skip over it, I have no way of telling who the 147 is. I've got it. I don't see it on my. I don't see. Oh, maybe if I go to the spotter guide, it'll tell me. Hey, the 147 is Adam McNeil. That's who it is. So he's in sort of a fake battle with Adam McNeil. But not really, as Adam McNeil drops past and lets Chris Sierks and James Cox have a little bit of space. And we've got about 6 minutes and 30 seconds to go. We do have a battle between Brendan Coley, who is going wide, the scientist. Oh my God, almost another caster's curse. But Matthew Coley, the scientist, does hold on with his excellent Mountain Dew Baja Blast livery. Or what is it? It's like the citrus livery. Whatever it is, it's dank. And he is going to drop past a little bit, but he is running in P12, which is really excellent for somebody who is typically more concerned with lapping around the centrifugal circuit and getting on top of the Garage 61 leaderboards than hot lapping on the tracks that we run. And, don't look now, but it does feel like Steve Hill is making ever so slightly some progress here on Jeremy Toasty. Lap after lap, Steve Hill has been clawing back a little bit. And we might see, at least something happen here for P3, and both of them are going to want this podium. I mean, I can't even explain how different these two races were. In these two races, we barely saw anybody with over a second lead. Now everybody has over a second lead after what were some just incredibly unfortunate incidents. Just looking at the field, I believe 11 drivers at least, maybe even 12 were affected by these incidents. Really just unfortunate. But meanwhile, speaking of the devil, we did say Steve Hill was catching up to Jeremy Toasty, and did Jeremy Toasty ruin his tires? That is a real question with 4 minutes and 45 seconds to go. Can Jeremy Toasty hold off Steve Hill? And also, taking a look at the battle for P5, we have the Reese's of James Cox catching up to the beefy Chris Sierks. And both of them have just been much faster than the other car coming through. Steve Hill was 4 tenths faster than Jeremy Toasty last lap. James Cox was 6 tenths faster than Chris Sierks last lap. You also see Josh King making his way past Dale Marshall into 9th place as well. But we now have these two battles, and now we've got we've got Jeremy Toasty getting overlapped with Steve Hill. And that is going to put Jeremy under significant pressure. Meanwhile, behind him, we're going side by side into turn 4. Now, Chris is going to have the inside here, but he does have some damage, it seems like. And it doesn't really matter, though, because turn 4 is super hard to pass at. And we're just going to keep an eye on these two drivers as we approach the 3 minute and 30 second mark to go. Jeremy Toasty, Steve Hill, Chris Sierks, and James Cox are the only battles we've got going on so far. Well, we do have a battle between Kevin Cohen and Adam McNeil, but they're a lap down. It's for P16. The battles for positions on the lead lap are the ones we're actually going to focus on. Meanwhile, as Jeremy Toasty is able to get it through Chris Cox, this time James Cox does have the inside on Chris Sierks into the final turn in turn 9, and it does look like James Cox is going to be able to complete the pass. And will Chris Sierks have a look on the inside here? It doesn't look like it. And that's going to be a solid position 5 game for James Cox. Really, really well done by him. Chris Sierks, unfortunately, driving with a bit of damage, and not just brain damage, but some actual bumper damage. And a very bored Kevin Cohen and Adam McNeil sit behind him. Up here at P3, we've got Steve Hill still fighting Jeremy Toasty, and Steve has been able to get overlap on several occasions, but has not been able to make the move work. And let's see once again as they head down the back straight whether Steve can get to the inside here. It doesn't look like it's Steve. Actually, having a look around the outside, maybe he's just going for like a much better exit. And once again, looks like he's going to get almost a little bit of overlap. But Jeremy Toasty will maintain the inside here. We have about 2 laps to go. Jeremy Toasty, Steve Hill once again going side by side. But Jeremy Toasty will maintain his podium position for now. Meanwhile, Greg Calabria has opened up a 4.5 second gap to Nick Drux. And due to the fighting between Jeremy Toasty and Steve Hill, Nick has a 7 second gap over Jeremy Toasty and Steve Hill. And we are moving ever so slightly into white flag territory here, as Greg Calabria will get the white flag this time around. And he is just going to have to complete another lap. Meanwhile, the real battle here is between Jeremy Toasty and Steve Hill. The only battle we've got going on right now on the lead lap is between these two drivers, and they both want this podium. Jeremy Toasty covering off the inside of turn 1. Doesn't look like Steve had any real chance there. Isn't able to get overlap and earn space on the inside into turn 4. That being said, he is right on the bumper. You see Steve just trying to get anything off the exits here. But his next opportunity is going to be turn 8 here. But Jeremy Toasty is able to get a better exit out of 5 as they go through 6 and 7. And I think saving some sort of catastrophic exit, Jeremy Toasty should be able to hold this. And it does look like he will. Meanwhile, we are going to watch Greg Calabria just cross the finish line with a 5 second gap, and he will be our winner of race 2. Very, very well driven.
Good one, Greg.
Greg, as Nick Drux comes in second. Meanwhile, our battle for third will end with Jeremy Toasty just beating out Steve Hill for P3. Steve Hill finishes in P4. James Cox coming through in P5, followed by Chris Sierks, who has meatballed his car because his big race is over. AJ Sanders, I believe his highest placing in CTD is going to be in P7. Howard Ding in P8. Josh King in a disappointing P9 for him. Dale Marshall in P10. And let's go ahead and take a look at our race results. Greg Calabria, our AM winner and our overall winner. He is going to take T1. He's going to take P1. Nick Drux is going to take P2. An excellent day for Nick, as Nick won our first race and then came in second in our second race. So he is going to be quite happy with his performance today. Welcome back, Nick. Next, we've got Jeremy Toasty and Steve Hill rounding out our pro podium, and Jeremy Toasty rounding out our overall podium. Meanwhile, James Cox, Chris Sierks, AJ Sanders, Howard Ding, Josh King, Dale Marshall, Brendan Hardy, Matt Coley, Gage Himes, Matt Cheeseman, and Michael Ayo will finally round out our top 15. Well, next week we will be at the Nürburgring, and we will be more than likely doing a 2-hour endurance race at the Nürburgring combined, which means that unless something massive changes, we likely won't have a broadcast. However, let's take a look and see what comes after that. If we go ahead and take a look at the officials here. Oh, don't mind me, I'm just incompetent. We are going to be looking here for Production Cup Challenge, which is here. So we will be at Winton Motor Raceway for race 7. So we will absolutely be broadcasting that, up in the air on whether we'll broadcast next week's race. But thank you for joining us today at CTD. It was wonderful to have you all join us. Have a great rest of your week, and see you soon.